In this video, I will go over how to create this poster here. I'm not going to go over how to design a poster from scratch. This is just the idea behind this is to get a poster off the internet. Maybe it could be something for Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthday, greetings cards, things like that. The idea is to grab one of those, bring it into Photoshop, and then just recreate it. That way you have your own. So I'm just going to use this one as a template, sort of. So first thing I'm going to do, with this imported, I'm going to lock it now, because the last thing I want to do is to accidentally select this. The quality of this picture is not the best, but that's fine. I don't need it to be high quality. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new layer. So I'm going to click on the icon right here, and layer 1. So making this spaceship, if I wanted to recreate it, what I can do is say something like this right here, this part, not the wings, but just this part, the middle part. What I would do is I would go to my rectangle right here. The shortcut is U, or I'm just going to click it once. And because it has this little white triangle, I'm going to left click and hold, and I have these other options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a rectangle, that's fine, and I'm going to just click and drag. Before I do that, I'm going to look at up here at the top. One thing that I haven't gone over actually is up here at the top, depending on the tool that I have selected, this up here changes. So that's one thing to take note of. I have a brush, I have my brush tools up here, my eraser, and my shapes. So anyways, my fill is going to be black, my stroke is going to be white, so it's going to give you something like this. The white stroke is a little too much, so I'm going to click right here and just click and drag this. Or I can just type in a number up here, maybe just 1. Maybe it's not big enough, maybe I'll do a 3. That's a little bit better. And things like that. So I don't want a stroke, so what I can do is I can delete it and do it again. Or if I press, if I want to edit this right here, the easiest way, because I see this up here, I can change it from here if I want, or if I don't have this, maybe your window's different, I can press a shortcut or just click on this again, or just press U, and now I got this again. And so I can go over here to where it says stroke, click on this, and click on the white square with the red line going across, and that gives me no color for the stroke. Let's say I did want color for the stroke but no fill. I'll use blue this time, and then I'm going to go to my fill, I'm going to click on that black square, and I'll click on the white with the red line going across, and now I have no fill. But in this case I do want to fill, and let's say, okay, well I really want to get this exact color right here. Well, what I can do is I can click on this right here, this little rainbowy thing, and by default my mouse, you'll get this one that pops up with the color picker and you can change colors and stuff, but you can see that my mouse now has this eyedropper tool. So if I click somewhere on that spaceship, I can get that exact same color, and I'm just going to press OK on the color picker window that popped up, and now I have that color. And it's kind of hard to see there, but if I move it over here, here we go. And I'm moving it because I pressed V on the keyboard to go back to this. Whenever I'm done doing one action, whether it's changing the color or moving it, I always end it with by pressing V on the keyboard. V for violent or something. Because that's the default move tool and selection tool. Lets me select layers or objects here and move things around. So I always do that, so I highly recommend making that into a habit. Anyways, now that I have this selected, another thing is, let's say I have nothing selected. Well, if I press U, it's not going to let me change any colors to this rectangle that I just made. I would have to press V, click on this, and then press U, or the icon over here. I could always just click on the layer over here, but I find it to be just much simpler to press V. Again, it's up to you. But yeah, you have more than one way to do things. Anyways, I want to remove the stroke, so I'm going to go over here, click on that blue square, click on that white square with the red line, and now I have no stroke. So here I have this, and it is tricky to see because I am pretty much playing with the same colors. So I'm just going to move my rectangle slightly just by using the arrow keys now to the right. So this is good enough. Another thing, maybe to make this easier for me to see, I can go to my layer over here. I'm going to click it, the layer for the poster. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to go up here to the opacity. I don't have access to it, so I'm going to unlock this. So I can click on this, go to opacity, and then lower that. If that's a little too much, and maybe you don't want to do this, you can always just select this rectangle again and change to a different color. So maybe I'll go with red. That way it's easier for me to see my shape compared to the Space Shadows shape. So I'll just leave it like this, just to make things easier. Anyways, now that I have this, I am going to create this part. So I'm going to left click and hold, and I will go with the polygon tool. I'm going to let go, and I'm just going to click and drag. Now the polygon tool is actually this right here, this polygon tool, this, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided shape, except I have 3 here. That's because, let's see, with this still selected, so if I press V, I can move it around. But when I press U, I want to click on this icon again, the shape tool. I get these corners with the dots on them. Up here at the top, I have the option right here to type in how many sides do I want. Well, maybe I want 5. Press Enter or press Tab. Whoops. Okay. So because I already created it, now that I type that in, now the next time I create something, I'll have that. So I could go ahead and delete this. Let me select it, press U. I could go ahead and delete this just to make things easier, but you do also have the option to, I'll just delete it. You do have the option that while you're creating it, so I'm going to left click and drag, and I'm going to hold it down. And there is a way, if I remember right, can't find it right now. Okay, well there was a way to change this on the fly, but that's probably a illustrated thing. So ignore that. So let's say, okay, I want 3 sides, so I'm just going to type in 3, I'm just going to click and drag, and there's my 3 sides. And here we go. So I'm just going to drag, let go like this. Now that I have that, I'm going to then click, and let's say I want to align these to this right here. Well, what I can do is I'm going to press A on the keyboard, or it's going to be this right here. It's really tricky, but it's the direct selection tool. I just pressed A. Hopefully you can remember that. But I'm just going to move this, and right now it's moving the whole thing. But let's say I want to just move this one now without moving the entire thing. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to click here once. Because I already had it selected, I clicked it once, and now this is blue and these 2 are white, which means I can now just move this one, which means I can just do the same thing over here. I'm going to click this once. Now this is just blue, and I can just move this here, kind of get a feel for where the middle is. So I'm going to say that that's where it is. I'm going to let go, and then I'm going to click and drag it again, and so it goes straight up, exactly straight up. I'm going to hold down Shift while I'm dragging. I'm going to let go of my click, let go of Shift, and now that I'm done, I'm going to press V, And there we go. It's not entirely perfect. Pixels are kind of large here, but that's fine. And from far away, you really won't be able to see it. But yeah, so here I have this, and then let's say, okay, well, this is pointy, the ship is pointy, so why I don't want mine to be pointy. So what you can do, press A again, I'm going to click on this, and what I'm going to do actually this time, it's not A, I'm going to go to my, I forget what it's called, pen tool, which is P. The shortcut is Shift C, I believe. Nope. Let me go back. It's this one right here, Convert Point Tool, basically. So basically press P, and the one icon that lights up, which is this one, you want to then left click and hold, and then go to the bottom, which is a Convert Paint Tool. So there it is, and then I'm going to, well, first I have to have this selected, so I have it selected. I'm going to click on this now because that's my new, because there's the icon, there's the tool, and then I can go ahead and, whoops, let me click this, with this selected once, I'm going to click it a second time, and then when I click and drag, I get this, and because I don't want to go like this, I want it to be even. While I am dragging, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I get something like this. So I'm just going to focus on this part up here. That's good. This is a tricky tool. It took me a while to get used to it. But this is very useful. But again, it took me a long time to get used to it. But let me do it again. Just really quickly. Maybe not the whole thing, actually. There. So, here I am. I'm going to click this once. I'm going to press P. There's my tool. So I'm going to left click and hold. Go down to my Convert Point tool. And I still have this selected. So I'm going to click this once. I'm going to click it one more time, and then I'm going to hold it down. And when I drag it, I'm going to hold down Shift. That way it gives me this even look to it. And I am just looking at the top part or the tip of the ship, so I'm going to let go right here. And then, if this part really bothers me, I'm going to just left click and hold and just drag it over here a little bit. You know, be careful not to do this, not to do too much. Just get a feel for it. And if you mess up, you can just undo this once and then try it again. And maybe something like that. Maybe that was too much, so I can go up here. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing over here. There is no mirror function for this tool, sadly. That looks fine. Now that I'm done, I'm just going to press V for violent, and then click out here, and that's it. I could go back here and do this part again, maybe make this less pointy, but that's fine. Now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and make these wings. So what I'm going to do is, these are two shapes. So what I want to do, first of all, I'm just going to combine them, but before I do, I'm going to make sure that these two shapes are actually connected, meaning I don't want something like this, where there's like a thin line. That's kind of obvious. So I'm just going to press down once. There we go. So now it is inside. Just to be on the safe side. Anyways, now that I have these two done, I'm going to click one with V. I have V selected. I'm going to click one, hold Shift, click on the other, or I can just do it over here, doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to right click and go to merge shapes. And then now that both merged, I can just hide it. This is just to make my layers easier to see. So now that that's done, I'm going to just leave that as is, and I don't want to select this for now, so I'm going to lock that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the wings. The wings might be tricky, and so I will just use the pen tool again. This time I'm going to press P. I'll actually use this tool here. So actually what I'll do is I'll just hide the polygon tool, and what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to get this part here, the wing, all the way down here. So to do that, it's okay if I click somewhere inside here, because I'm assuming that it comes in around this area. So I'm just going to click right here, and doing that gives me the shape. I have artboards on, which I didn't need to do, but that's fine. I just have to move the shape one below it. Anyways, I clicked it once up here, and what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm just going to create this wing right here. And so I'm going to, I click there, I'm going to then click over here, something like right here, and I clicked and I held it down. I'm going to then drag this down a little bit, and this is just like before where I moved the tip of the ship. So it's not meant to be perfect. I'm just going to do a general shape for this. So again, I clicked and I held it down, and I'm just dragging my mouse, so that's good right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let go, and I do have a stroke, which I didn't need to have, so let me actually go here, and then click on the white square with the red line. So there's my fill. Luckily, as long as I don't do anything else, I'm still working on this. So anyways, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to then click right here, and then click and hold, and actually I don't want to do anything here, so I'm going to bring it back and just be on the safe side. I'm going to undo this and do it one more time. Click, that's it, I just clicked. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to then click and then hold and drag it a little bit, and I get something like that. And it's going to help. There's two blue lines that are following me. The blue line on the left side is what's creating the curve next to the wing on the left side. Where my mouse is right now, that blue line that's attached to it, that is what's going to lead into the next point that I'm going to click. So basically what I'm trying to say is the blue line that's closer to my mouse, that's pointing to my mouse basically, I want that blue line to align itself to the next position of my next click, or of the shape that I'm trying to make, in this case the wing. So this is aligned to the wing basically, and so I'm going to let go right here. I let go. Ignore this, that's fine. Don't worry about that black color being weird. And it looks like it kind of got cut off here. That's not a big deal. So I'm just going to assume that it's right here, and I'm just going to click and drag this, something like that. And earlier I said that I want that blue line to align to the next point where I'm going to click. Obviously I'm not going to click down here, but there is a trick to this, which is I'm still holding down left click. What I'm going to do next is on Windows I'm going to hold down Alt. On the Mac I kind of forgot, it might be Option or Command, but basically you'll be able to do this now. I'm going to hold down Alt, and I still have the left click held down. I'm going to move my mouse over here, and we can see that the left side is just the line that's connected to my mouse is only moving. It's the only one that's moving. So if you can do this, then that's the button to use. So what I can do now is I can move this over here. I'll leave it here at the middle. I'm going to let go, and then I'm just going to click right here. I'm going to let go, and I'm going to go over here to the top, straight up to the top. So I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click right here. And last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click right here to connect it. And now I'm done. I'm going to press V, and I have this now. It's not super perfect. Actually, it's pretty good. So what I'm going to do next is I have two. I have the other side to deal with, but I could just Control J or click and drag on the shape down here. Let go. Now I have two. I'm going to Control T or Command T on the Mac. Add two. See? I'm going to Control T, then I'm going to right click and go to Flip Horizontal, and then move this to the left. And while I'm moving this, I'm holding down Shift and press Enter. And I don't see any white gaps. That's fine. There you go. I can bring back my other part, and I'm going to move that to the top actually. There you go. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this one. Let me actually unlock this. I'm going to click on this one. I pressed V again, FYI. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to hold Shift, click on this one, and then I'm going to press U on the keyboard. And whatever color I choose will be applied to all of them, even though they're different layers. So I'm going to click, or I can just press I for my eyedropper. I tend to just do it like this, where I just press U, click on that red square, click on that rainbowy block, and then click on the color of the ship that I want, and then press OK. And there you go, something like this. See? And then I can just combine these two, or these three if I want. So with those three selected, right click, merge shapes, and now I just have one shape. Maybe I should have made it lighter, that's fine. So I'm going to hide this. Actually, no, I'll just leave it like so. Last thing I'll do will be these boosters. I'm not going to deal with the rest of the ship, but what I'm going to do, press U, left click and hold on this, and I'll just do another rectangle. Let me actually zoom in, click on that rectangle again, click and drag up, and I'll just do it again, just because it's straightforward. It doesn't have to be the exact same shape, but I'll try it again actually. There we go. And for these two, I'm going to select both of those, U, and maybe I'll get like a different color. Maybe this part, I don't know, just to make it different. So there I have that, and what I'm going to do is these two rectangles are the boosters, so I'm going to move those down here, and now I have that. Actually, what I'm going to do, let's say in this case I messed up. I just realized that I want this part to be one color and then the wings to be a different color. Well, because I combined them, I can't do that anymore. I'm just going to undo all the way. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to copy, because when I undo, to go back before I combined or merged these two pieces right here, I'm going to lose this, but there they are. Yep. If I do edit, paste in place, which is paste special, paste in place. Whoops, for some reason I moved that over there. I don't know why. I have my shapes again. Because these were like really easy to do, it's not a big deal, but you can do that. You can do that to work around the whole undoing and usual thing. Anyways, these are the boosters. I don't care too much about these, so I will combine these two. So merge shapes, and I'll put those at the bottom. This is the wing. So this is wing. That's one wing. Actually, I will combine these two. So I will merge shapes, call this wing, and then the next thing I'm going to do is like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is with this one selected, I'm going to press U, click on this, click on that block with the rainbowy block, and then click on the ship for the color that I want, click OK, There we go. I'll bring out the wings. There they are. Do the same thing. I'll do it differently this time. I'll press I and then click on the wings. With the wings selected, press I, then click on the color. Well, that didn't work. I'll try this method now. It has worked in the past. If not, it's fine. So now that I got that, I can then move these back into place. It's not a big deal if it's not exactly in place, well, that's fine. And if I hide this, I have something like this. It's not perfect, but there's still more stuff that I can do to it, of course, but I'm not going to do that. Then this part here, maybe I want these lines, these streaks, whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm press U, or click on my square, go to my fill, and change the color. I'm going to grab this one right here. Actually, I'll do the outside color first. Whoops. Because I had this one selected, it actually changed the color of that, so I'm going to press V, click on the background. So I have nothing selected now. I'm going to go back to my square, or press U, go to my fill, click on that block with the rainbow, click on one of these colors. I'm just going to do the outside color first. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to have it up here a little bit, something like that. I'm going to click and drag it down. It's not a big deal how far down. Let's say I do it like this, just on purpose. I'm going to go to stroke, remove that, and I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to click on the background because I don't want to have anything selected when I change the color. I'm going to press U to go to my square shape, go to my fill, click on the rainbowy square, click on the lighter color right here, and I'm just going to click on the inside and just drag something like this. The stroke is still there, so I'm going to hide that. So now I'm going to press V, click on the background, and now I have this. If I hide the wallpaper or the flyer, I get something like this. I can click on this one right here, the shorter one. I'm going to Control T. I'm just going to drag this down. It doesn't have to match, but I'll just have it match. Enter, bring back this, and now I have that. Because I know I'm not going to play with this around anymore, I can just merge these and move those to the bottom now. And there you go. And then, oh whoops. So merging them seems to combine them, so I guess I can't merge. That's fine, it's not a big deal. I'll just call these fire? I don't know. Fire 2. I'll just leave it at that. Move those two down below. There we go. And these clouds, if I want, I can just hide these fires for now. It's not a big deal. Maybe not. Doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my shapes. I'm going to ellipse, and I'm going to go to fill and grab a cloud color, or maybe just get a blue. I'll just go with the color, it's fine. And I'm just going to click and hold, and I get this circle, but it's kind of tricky. So while I am left clicking and holding down, while I hold down the left click button, basically, I hold down Shift. No matter what I do, my circle will always be a circle and won't get stretched or squished. So hold down Shift. This is on PC, and then Alt. If I hold down Shift and Alt, it's easier for me to get this kind of shape right here. If I don't do this, I can go like this, let go, and then move it, press V, and then move it, things like that, and then delete this. But the way I work is, I just get an idea like where the center of the circle is, maybe here. I'm going to left click and hold, Alt, Shift, and let go, There we have that. And then instead of having to do this over and over and over again, let me hide the wallpaper to make it easier to see. I'm just going to click on this. I have these selected. I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm just going to click and drag, and it duplicates it, but also moves it for me at the same time. Very, very useful. So I'm just going to let go, do that, do it again, and again. I did it like this because I want to then grab this one, Control T, and then make it bigger. Grab this one, Control T, make that one bigger. Control T, maybe make this one smaller. It's not a big deal. And then from here, I can just grab more of these. And I'm not gonna take too much time to do this, but you get the idea. Maybe I'll do that one and just grab this one. So something like that. Again, ideally you'd want to take your time. So there's that, and if I want I can go and scroll down, and obviously it's overboard because there's nothing over here on this side, kind of forgot. So I'll leave it at this, and maybe I just want to select all of these now, so I'm just going to left click and drag to create this marquee selection for this box. I'm going to move this to make sure I only have these selected. If I didn't have these selected, maybe I had this part selected too, so it's like, oh wait, nope, don't want that. I just want these clouds or the smoke. So I got that and I undid it, which is all these. I'm just going to right click, merge shapes, and now I just have one layer. I'm going to move this to the bottom, but not all the way because I don't want this to be like this. So I'm going to move this on top of the flower, and there we go. Obviously it's not a direct copy of this, but that's fine. The other thing would be the text. So to deal with text, I'm going to click on the background, and I can I can lock these actually, which actually I'll do that. So I'm going to lock these. I don't want to accidentally select them. I'm going to press V, click on the background, have nothing selected. I'm going to press T on the keyboard, which is right here, and I'm just going to click right here, type in science fair. If I do the exact same thing, I'll just do enter, type in fair, and I have this gap, so I have to indent to the left. So if I just do it like this, it only applies to this side. Kind of wrong actually. So I need to select everything. So Control A, or click and drag from the beginning of that, whatever works for you, and then press left indent. Now that I'm done typing, I'm going to press V or click on the move tool and then just align this however I want. I'm going to zoom in just to see things better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press T again because I want to see the tools for the text. So with this text that I created selected, I'm going to press T, and I can then go ahead and change the color. So maybe I want to do a light blue, or I can just click on this color and I have the exact same yellow. But to make things easier to see, I will leave it at something bright so you can see better. In this case, the text is not aligned properly, so what I can do is I can go to well, before I do any alignment, actually, I want to look at my fonts. So if I click on my font, I can see a long list of fonts that I have, and right now it's really hard to see because this window's in the way. I could move my window like this and then do it again, or I can just click in here, go to the first one, and then just press down on the arrow. Let me do it again. I'm going to click in there. There we go. So I can just click down and see what I like, and I'll go with this font actually. Now that I'm done, I'm going to click on the move tool. Whoops, the move tool. I'm going to click on this again, the text, and then on the right side, under paragraph and character, if you don't see these windows, you can just go to window, and then you have those windows there. So it's character and paragraph. Here they are. So that's not what I want right there. I want to go to character actually, and under character, I want to go to fair to lift up a little bit. So I'm going to play with, I believe it's this one. Yeah. So the way it works is I can mouse over and then left click and drag on these icons. You can see that my mouse changes to this like black left and right arrow. So I do have that option, or I can just go here and click on a number. That's kind of hard for me, so I tend to do this instead. So I'm doing this slightly. So maybe something like that. I'll leave it at that. It's fine. Now that I have that, now that I'm done, I'm going to click on the move tool because I don't want to accidentally type something new. So I have this, and let's say, okay, I want something else. I can hold, if I want another large, if I want to do this again, I can hold on Alt, click and drag, move this down if I want, and do the same thing. But I don't, so I'm just going to press T, click right here. Whoops, I clicked inside here, so I've got to make sure to click outside this area. So I'm going to, if you need to make any changes to this, you press T and then click, and then you can make any changes to whatever you want to do. I'll undo that. Or you can just double click on this T right here in the layer. Anyways, I'm going to press T, click somewhere down here, type in, I guess, Friday, and I want the whole thing to be smaller, so I'm just going to select the whole thing, and then up here at the top, I'm just going to do something like that, or just click and drag on this icon right here, and I get something like that. Again, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you get the idea. Press Z, click on Fit Screen, and before doing anything else, I'm going to select both of those texts, press T, click on the color, and then click on the yellow that's from the poster's font. Click OK. I'm going to hide my poster and have something like this. And one thing I did forget was the background color. This will be the last thing. To get the background color, I'm going to press I. And there's multiple ways. I can press I, click on this, and now have it stored right here. Or I can just press U to get my shapes, rectangle, all that stuff. One thing that I just realized is that my canvas is much larger, so if I want to make this smaller, I'm going to press C to crop. Get my crop tool right here, and I'm just going to click and drag this, whoops, right here, these little dots, and move this like so. Just do it like that. That's fine, doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to press V just to get out of that mode. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hide the poster. And just to make things easier, I can either create a rectangle, or just go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color, click OK. And the last color that I copied is already applied by default. And I'm just going to move this layer all the way to the bottom. And there you go. I have something like this. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of making sure things are organized and things like that. The trickiest thing I'd say would be working on something like this. But yeah.